What is up, Chris Grothues? So excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I've always been wanting to do one of these, so might as well have it the first time with Sports Spectrum. So
Well, well, great. Here you go. We're pumped to have you on the What's Up podcast, and first UCLA athlete on the What's Up podcast, and I'm all about that because we got some UCLA in my family. Henry Hasselbeck is there for his second year this year, so super pumped about that. But before we talk baseball and all the things, I'd love to ask you the question we ask all the guests on the What's Up podcast: is what are you all about right now?
right now, I would say just I'm a UCLA athlete, just enjoying life, enjoying the college dream, just going in my day-to-day business as an athlete. It's a long day, but just trying to stay in that good routine where I'm also getting better, but I also have some time to just chill. So, I mean, being a UCLA athlete is no joke, so it's tough.
No, I bet. I mean, I know the grind of that. And I'd love to talk about just your experience with UCLA baseball because, you go to school for school, but really, like, you're doing your sport a lot more and more hours on the field and really studying off the field as well. But just because it's summer and we're getting into the school year, what are you most excited about when you get back on campus?
Just excited to get back with the guys on the team. I mean, I've never been on a team where every single guy treats each other like family, and it's just like another family to be a part of once I get back on campus. We're all there for each other. So, like, I've never been more excited to go on campus and just hang with the boys and, talk trash or whatever that is, but just having fun and, just living the dream playing baseball and also have another family behind my back.
Yeah, and you're playing baseball too, like in California, which is so fun. And I know I went to Boston College and it gets really cold up here. So our baseball team was gone all of preseason because they had to go to Florida, right, to train. And same with our softball
Holy
team.
smokes.
So just being in California, I know you're from California as well. Did that have anything to do with wanting to go to UCLA?
Yeah, UCLA has always been my dream school ever since I was a kid. So, I mean, going through the recruiting process when I was a freshman in high school and sophomore in high school, I mean, UCLA was always my top school. My grandpa went there back in the day, and he said it was great. So I was like, you know what? I want this to be my dream school. Worked hard and got the offer my sophomore year, and I committed on the spot. I'm like, why wait? Why wait for other schools when this is my dream school? So I committed on the spot, told Coach Savage, yes, I'm in. And here I am today, going to my senior year of college. So
Wow, what an awesome opportunity to go to your dream school. And what was that conversation like when you were getting that offer?
well, my coach called me, my high school coach. He's like, "Hey, Coach Savage wants to talk to you." I was like, oh, "Okay, what? Like, shoot, what's going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, give him a call." So I give him a call. He's like, "Yeah, we like you and all that. We want to give you an offer." And I just remember, like, I was crying. I was like, "Wow, God, you're so good. I've been wanting to just. This has been my dream school for the longest time, and for me to commit on the spot like that, I mean, that's no coincidence. So God's got my back. He had my back through the injuries. So he's a loyal coach too. Even through my injuries in high school, he's remained loyal, and that's what I like about him is he remains loyal with all his guys, and he treats every guy like family. So that's what I love about him.
That's awesome. And yeah, that's like a hard thing, right? To be going through the recruiting process and to have things that you might not know how it will affect when you actually get there. Cause there's a lot of time between when you commit as an athlete and when you actually get to campus, right? And whether
Exactly.
it matters between you or not, like they might pick up other people who are probably going to take your job or be in competition with you. Like there's a lot that goes down in that time. So would you mind just elaborating maybe on like what that was like going through injuries and maybe feeling that uncertainty even just before you got to UCLA?
Yeah, so I committed right before COVID back in the day, 5 years ago, or whatever that was now. And I remember COVID happened. I was like, all right, well, I committed right on time. And then my junior year came along. Halfway through junior year, I tore my meniscus or my ACL, full blown ACL tear. Um, and I was like, wow, this is hopefully Coach Savage keeps my scholarship because I'm only a junior. I didn't sign yet. I was worried, but then he remained faithful, and throughout my whole rehab process, he was there for me, checking in on me, how I was doing, make sure I'm getting better, make sure I'm training, make sure just everything was going right, and making sure my head was in the right direction rather than trying to get caught up in the injury stuff. He always told me that there is a light always at the end of the tunnel, and just keep grinding and you'll be back to where you were in no time. And he was right. And he kept that scholarship right on for me, and then entering college, and it's the same guy that I talked to my sophomore year of high school.
Wow. That's amazing because it kind of sets a precedent for you and like your own life of how to be loyal to people, right? And I
Mhm.
think maybe if it had gone the other way, you can have some hard feelings towards that. So it's really cool that you were able to experience that loyalty before you even got there, right? Like, and I can imagine how stressful that was. But how did you tear your ACL?
Oh, it was actually in warm-ups. It's actually a funny story, kind of. I mean, in warm-ups, we're warming
Now
up.
it's funny.
Uh,
Now it's a
now
funny
now
story.
it's funny, now it's funny. We were in warm-ups, I go to jump, and my foot got stuck in the hole, like a hole. It was at a high school we were playing at Servite, and I stepped in a hole, and I hear my ACL, or I heard something crack, and I'm like, "Oh, that's just a crack." And 5 seconds later, I'm laying down, I'm like, "Oh, that ain't no crack. That's something worse." And
Oh
then
no.
the next day, I was supposed to pitch, and I called my dad, and I was like, "Hey, like, there's no shot I can pitch. My knee's a watermelon right now." And my mom said the same thing, and he's like, "Oh, suck it up, buttercup." And I go on the mound, throw 4 pitches, all off the backstop. Sure enough, there was no ACL left in there. It was full blown torn. I was like, "Well, Dad, there you go. I'm not a baby."
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes you need people to push you, but sometimes you also know your body really well as an athlete. And I think I think that's
100%.
good to trust for sure, especially as you get older. But I'd love to just talk about your time at UCLA and what to look forward to. But first I want to get a little bit just into the town of Westwood because next time I go visit my brother, I gotta know what your go-to spot is. So where should I check out when I go back to Westwood?
Ooh. Like for food, Go-Go Bop.
Go Go
Go-Go
Bot.
Bop,
Okay.
it's in Westwood Village. It's think of it as a Korean kinda Chipotle.
Okay. Interesting.
Unbelievable.
Like, you're saying, like walkthrough style?
Yeah, walkthrough
Okay.
style, pick
It's
what you
funny how
want.
we've, like, made Chipotle a verb. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it
Like,
is
I've
because
there's
I
this
mean
sushi place that's called Fusion in Ohio, and anytime we're in Ohio, we always go. It's in Cincinnati, and we just call it, like it's like Chipotle sushi, but, like, really, it's like any type of, like, buffet style, like, fast food.
Holy cow.
So what was it called? Go-Go what was it?
Go-Go Bop, Go-Go
Go-Go Bot,
Bop.
okay. Alright,
Yeah,
I'm on it.
my teammate actually put me on that, and he's like, "You gotta try this out." And I was like, "Alright," like, it's the thing is it's right next to Chipotle too, literally the next door over. I was like, "Alright, like, maybe it's just a Korean Chipotle." That's what we
Korean
call it over
Chipotle.
there.
Okay, I guess I'm trying GoGoBot out next time I go to Westwood and go visit Henry. So I love that. But I love to know a little bit about the UCLA baseball team. Is there a fun tradition or something that people might not know about your team from just going to a game or following them on Instagram?
Um, I mean, like I said earlier, we treat each other like family. I mean, we do some like we do we play like the pitchers, like we'll play hacky sack or something before a game, or just for team bonding, or we'll host. Last year we held a team bonfire before school started, so that kind of set things on the right foot. We're like, all right, we're family now. Let's treat each other like family. So that was a good start, and then we kind of like went to each other's apartments, once every 2 weeks or whatever just to create that team bonding, and sure enough, it helped us get to Omaha because I mean, we were not expected to go there. I mean, we were supposed to finish, like, 8th or ninth in the Big Ten, like, especially after coming to the year we had 2 years ago, which was brutal. No one Everyone counted us out. So, we thought, might as well just start with team bonding and see where that gets us, and it got us pretty far because I mean, we're not the biggest or strongest or whatever in the NCAA, but we played hard, and that's what us Cali boys get. We get what we want, and we we strive for our goal, and we got it. So,
That's awesome. I love that you were tracing it back to the bonfire, and I want to talk about Omaha, and that's all. That those are such exciting things. But I want to talk about the bonfire. Who on the team was anybody singing? What was that like?
it was not much singing. It was like hacky sack with a soccer ball. Just like there was some singing going on. Not some like something I'm not good at. Someone that's good at singing is our
Someone, yeah.
catcher, Cash Duggar. Cash
Okay.
Duggar, our catcher, he can sing. We'll host a karaoke night in the clubhouse every once in a while with our team sports or with our sports mental guy. He'll like at the end we'll go through our stuff and he's like, "All right, time for cup pong." So if you miss, if you get 3 shots, if you miss all 3, you gotta pick a song in front of the whole team and start singing it.
No way.
But if you make one, you get to pick someone out of the whole clubhouse to sing. So, like, kinda like that too, like, kinda just brought our team together. You know, no one wanted to sing in front of 40 guys. I mean, we're guys, we can't sing. I mean, that's just not what God gifted
Well,
us with.
your catcher can sing. Your catcher can
Our
sing.
catcher can sing. Oh, yeah, he can sing, but everyone else is like, "Alright, we're just doing it for fun at this point," but
That's
it's been a pretty
awesome.
cool experience.
That's important though, like, those moments too, like, when you graduate, that's what you're gonna think about is, like, those fun
Ex
moments in your clubhouse or in your locker room or on b long bus rides, right? And so, I think that's what's so special is it might seem insignificant in the moment, and even sometimes you're like, "Oh, like, team bonding, like, we gotta go do this," like, fun things, like karaoke night, or "We gotta go do this," and it might feel like a hassle, but really, like, that's what's gonna help you have success on the field, and so, let's talk about Omaha because your team hadn't been back to the College World Series since 2013, I believe, is that right? Like, that's a
Yeah,
long time ago, so
it's
what
been
did that
12
just
years.
mean to your program?
I mean, we've always wanted to go back, and after the year we had 2 years ago, we're like, "Alright, we're making it to Omaha, no ifs, ands, or buts." And we made that happen, and, you know, just kinda proving everyone wrong, proving all the writers wrong, and say, "You know what? UCLA is back in business," and especially all those guys coming back next year for the most part. I mean, if that doesn't, like, speak about team, I don't know what does, and that was our number 1 goal this year was to make Omaha, not to win it, just to make it, just to prove everyone wrong, and we did that, and I thought we had a pretty good run.
What was the moment when you got to Omaha and it really hit you like, "Oh, like, we just hit our goal, like, we're here?"
Right when we walked up at practice, it was on a Thursday, the day before our game, and, you know, just walk in and you're just like, "Wow, this is I can't wrap my head around this." I mean, this is the dream since I wanted for a kid because I went to the College World Series just to watch, teams play in 2014, and, you know, my dad or my friend's dad sent me a picture right when we got there. He's like, "Look, your dream came true, a 2014 picture of me on my travel ball team in Omaha." I was like, wow, I just can't wrap my hand around it still. I mean, right when you
Good.
walk on that field, you're like, wow, I made it. This is what I've been wanting to do for 15, 16 years of my life is just to make it to the College World Series. And we made that come true.
That is amazing. I love that you have that photo too, that you were able to remember in that moment as well. But it takes a lot of work to get to that point, right? It even takes a lot of hard work to get to UCLA and
Hmm.
play Division I baseball. And so I'd love to know just what was the grind like for you? What was that like to just be able to be good enough at your God given ability to put yourself in the position to go to UCLA and also to help your team get to the College World Series, right? Like that takes a lot of
Hmm.
hard work. And I think a lot of athletes are gifted, right? Like if you're an athlete, you're gifted. The Lord has
Yeah,
given you that talent. But like the people who are able to separate themselves are the ones who take their God given gift and work really hard at it, right? And go to every practice and
exactly.
work outside and watch film and really make it one of their top priorities is to steward that gift. So what was that grind like for you?
I mean, for me, I was coming off Tommy John last year, and right when I'm about to start throwing bullpens and all that, I broke my face. My scooter broke, my handlebars broke. The whole pole had
Hold
to be
on.
there.
I'm sorry. I never thought you were gonna say I broke
No,
my face.
uh-uh,
I don't
uh-uh.
think I don't think I've ever heard someone say I broke my face.
Yeah,
So like your
broke my
whole face or
face.
like your nose?
My right side of my face, like right here, I have 3 plates going on through here. Um, Still, I haven't gone to take them out yet. But yeah, I was riding my scooter and my scooter handles broke and there had to be a pole right there. And
On
went
campus?
on
All
campus,
right,
went face
Henry,
first
my
into a
little brother,
pole.
if you're listening to this, get off your scooter at UCLA. You're no longer allowed to use a scooter. We're gonna give him a bike and a helmet. All right. Sorry, big sister moment. But listen to Chris. Chris, what would you say? What advice would you give
Yeah,
Henry?
I haven't rode a scooter since October, so, been walking to class and get my steps in for the day. So, I mean,
Henry, you heard it here. You heard it here first. Okay, sorry to interrupt. So you have 3 plates in your face
so
right
I have
now.
3 plates in my face, and I was, like, inches away from, like, passing out or dying. If I would've hit my temple, I would've been gone, most definitely, but I hit my eye, and I remember I got off the scooter, I'm like, "Shoot, where am I?" And I kinda got up, and I don't know how I did it, don't ask me, my parents were like, "What the heck?" But I walked myself to the hospital. I
You
walked
don't
myself
remember?
to
Do
the
you remember
hospital
that part?
barely. Walked myself to the hospital, And I'm like, "Hey, like,
Well, good
I
thing
broke
it's
my I
close.
broke my
Good thing it's
face.
close
I
by.
broke my face, like, can you get me somewhere?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, go up to the 4th floor," as I'm bleeding. I'm like, "Alright, guys, like, help me out a little bit here." So I go up and they take care of me, and then, I'd eventually get surgery on it, but yeah, and that was the first experience, and then I was like, "Alright, Lord, what are you trying to do with me?" Like, broken face, trying to put me in the I was right about to get back with the team finally, and now I gotta wait 3 months. And I was like, "Alright, great." So, get to start season. I didn't start playing, like, right away. I pitched in the 3rd week of season, and after that, 2 weeks later, we were about to play we're on a Tuesday game, and I was about to come in to pitch, warming up. I hear my knee crack. I'm like, this ain't good. This ain't good." And I was like, "Alright, maybe it's just a crack. Give me 5 minutes." Told my coach, "Hey, give me 5 minutes, like, calm the pitcher down or something. I'll let you know if I can come in." 5 minutes go by. I was like, "No, I can't land on it." So I go up. Yeah, can't bend my knee, can't do any of that. Sure enough, tore my meniscus. I was like, "Okay, Lord, what are you trying to do with me now?" Like, I'm an injury guy, like, I'm done with these injuries. And sure enough, like, they said, "You can either do 2 things. You can either just cut that meniscus in half, cut 50% of it out, or you can try to get surgery and come back in 6 months." And I was like, "Oh, I think I'll just take my 10 chances being an athlete. If I have knee pain later, so what?" Cut the meniscus out. It was supposed to be 6 weeks, I said. I got back in 3, and then
Wow.
the day I was cleared, I pitched, and then I pitched twice a week from then on until the College World Series. I'm like, "Alright, Lord, you did this for a reason, and, like, I now know what that reason was going back through it. I know I wasn't trusting in you in the process per se, but now I trust you, and you always guide me in the right path. You got me to UCLA, which was just a dream come true, and then to eventually pitch in front of 30,000 fans at the College World Series. I mean, it's no coincidence why I'm here. So, now I just put all my trust in God and have him take care of the rest.
You got beat up. That's all I have to say. That is a beating for sure, like from top to bottom, right? Of
Mhm,
just your physical body. And I think what you said is important, just like, about the process, like that the Lord had brought you through that specific
mhm,
season, because it's a good thing to like wrestle with the Lord and to question God. Like it's part of your relationship with him, right? It's you
mhm,
don't want to be doubting God, but I think what you're saying is like, yeah, I was like, God, what are you doing now? Like, what are you doing now? And that's showing like, hey, I have a relationship with you. I understand that you're in control. You're saying you have authority. This is your, like, you're allowing this to happen and you're allowing this to happen to me. So I think like that shows just like spiritual maturity, number one. So I think
mhm.
for people who are struggling with like multiple injuries back to back to back, or just like disappointment, like there were so many seasons throughout my athletic career and even just like my normal typical life where it's like, feel disappointment after disappointment. You're like, God, like, what are you doing? And I think that's not doubting him, but you're just saying, I don't understand, like, what is going on. And so I'd love to know before we, maybe get to that like World Series happy ending, how did you handle just the physical pain, number one, but then also like when you were wrestling with the Lord, what helped you during that season?
I mean, the physical pain, I mean, it was tough. Um, it didn't hurt as bad as I thought, after surgery and all that, and I just remember going down on my knees right when it happened, and I was like, "Lord, like, whatever you're trying to do, just please help me." And I was crying and going up to the training room, getting checked out, and my trainer just puts a hand on me and he's like, "Hey, like, everything's gonna be okay, like, just trust the process." And in my words, that's just trust God. And then, going through that, and going to that FCA camp, kind of fast forwarding to after the College World Series, I get a call from one of my old coaches. He's like, "Hey, you want to do this Santa Barbara camp with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, what are the details?" He doesn't give me any details. So I got there on Monday. I'm like, the group I got with was like, "All right, this is a mess. This is a mess." And I prayed. I was like, "Lord, turn this around. You're doing this to build my faith, my trust in you." And sure enough, the next day the kids flipped, started asking questions. I had I had one kid, I shared my testimony with them, and a lot of them kind of dealt with the same thing. And I had this one kid after his name was Isaiah. He goes, "Hey, we were supposed to go to a gym competition." It was an all FCA gym competition, and we were about to go in to go play, and he's like, "Hey, like, can we not go in?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" So we talked for an hour and a half just about his life and how, like, God brought him here for a reason. His grandparents just bought him a FCA, just paid for his whole FCA trip to go. And he's like, "Well, now I know, and this is no coincidence. God is real." And that kind of brought me back to
Mm.
this whole College World Series thing. And even before that, we're like, wow, God did this for a reason to build my trust in him so then he can lay out his plans he has for me, because my plans are worthless. My plans are worthless. It's his plans that are perfect. And I mean, like Jeremiah 29:11 says, I mean, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans that prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So just thinking about that verse has always kind of been the keystone of my life. God always has better plans than me. And going through the physical pain was whatever. I knew God got my back, and he's always had my back. So I trust in him and everything.
Mm. Well, thank you for sharing that, and what a cool story with that boy Isaiah. Was that his name, Isaiah?
Yeah.
So sweet, and just like an awesome opportunity too for you to like give back, right, to young baseball players, and just athletes, but also for you to have that moment of reflection. Like I think that's why saying yes when people like ask something of you is so important, and not thinking too big of yourself or too highly of yourself to do like community service or to volunteer or to lead a small group. Like yeah, it might not be as convenient, and there's a million things you could be doing with your summer and probably that time,
Mhm.
but you never like changing someone's life and having an impact on someone's life. And also, like, the Lord has given you this baseball opportunity. The Lord has brought
Yeah.
you to UCLA. And seeing it as a gift to be there is going to really help you do that. But I'd love to know just throughout that season, what did you lean on and maybe who did you lean on to be able to help you trust God, right? Because there's probably a lot of moments you're like,
Right.
yeah, this ain't feeling great, you know, like even just physically. But who did you lean on during that season? What did you lean on? And how did you stay present with the Lord?
So two of my teammates that are Christians, we have Bible study groups together. Um, I was leaning on them, and that they're Christians, and whenever I was going through a tough patch, they would just say, "Hey, just trust in the Lord with all your heart," and give me Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Just trust God, and every week they would check in on me at Bible study, and same with their group leader Jake, and just making sure I was all right going through that whole process, because they kind of felt bad I was going through all this injuries, and just basically told me, "Hey, it's like it's God's will and let his will be done," pretty much. And you'll get through this and you'll be stronger, not only physically, but in God's word as well.
That's awesome, and that's why it's so important to invest in your relationships and your teammates, like, on a deeper level than just like, "Oh,
Mhm.
great game." Like, that was it's so important because you're also gonna be able to lean on them outside of baseball and, like, beyond your life, and yes, those things had to do with baseball, like injuries, your team not winning initially, like, those are all things that deal with baseball, but now you'll have that connection for life, and I think it's so important for athletes to be bold enough to invest in their communities, whether or not those athletes are on your team or not, or even play a sport, like just find the believers or find people who are interested in their faith on your college campus because it is so important. But there was a video actually that went kind of viral of you at the College World Series sharing your testimony and just talking about being adopted into a family of believers. Would you mind just sharing some of that story because it really touched a lot of people?
Yeah, so I was born in Carson City, Nevada, and into an abusive family. And, all I remember was, my dad was abusive to all my brothers and sisters. And, um, my birth mom couldn't have me because she lost custody and all that stuff. So my grandma called my parents now, and they're like, "Hey, we've know you want a kid because you can't have a kid. You just can't. And would you want to adopt this kid?" And my parents are like, "Yes, 100%." And so they adopted me into a Christ loving home, go to church every Sunday. Just, we pray together as a family twice a day, in the morning and at night. And then I remember when I was 7 years old, I remember asking my mom, like, "Hey, I'm lonely. Can I have a brother?" And she's like, "Yeah, pray about it. Let's see what God can do." And a week later, I remember my grandma called us again. We're like, "Hey, we got a kid on the way in Lansing, Michigan for possibly to be your brother." And I'm like, "Wow, this is just God answering prayers right now." So then we got my brother from Michigan, and now it's just us two living with my parents. So it's been a really cool journey, and I think a lot of people, especially high schoolers, can kind of relate with that. People going through broken homes and all that. Kind of listening to my story, like how you can, get through all of that and just lean on God is, I mean, I experienced is, I mean, it's pretty cool. And like those kids open up, and then you can kind of help them, guide them with Christ. So,
Thank you for sharing that. It's such a beautiful story, and, like, I wanna meet your brother now. I'm like, this is so cool, and just to hear, like, from your perspective too of, like, "Hey, like, I want a brother," and or, I want a sibling, and even
mhm,
your mom just saying, like, "Hey, like, pray about it," like, making that the priority, and just to hear how the Lord has been faithful in your life is so cool, and, the Lord, like, writes everyone's story differently for different purposes, and just to hear you already in your life, like, you're still so young. How old are you? Like 23?
22,
22,
22.
right? Like, think like that's crazy, And like, I'm saying that's crazy. I'm 23, so like, I'm not old either. But it's cool to see like you be able to understand like the Lord and His plan for you. Not like the entire plan, but like for you to understand like why He did certain things in your life and how He's brought you through to be able to reach other people too who
Mhm,
might have gone through similar things and to touch people who their stories might look different but can see Jesus through your story. Like I think
mhm,
that's so incredible and it's so important to be able to do life with Jesus because if you're not, you're going to miss it. Like you're going to totally miss it. And it's just not worth it, the other way. And it's not as pure and as beautiful. But I just love that story. And I would just love to know a little bit more about your family and how they brought you up. And it's sweet to hear about how you guys would pray. But what's maybe something that has stuck with you when you got to college? Because when you get to college, you're on your own, you're not with your family. You kind of got to be like, all right, am I going to keep doing this faith thing if you had it at home, or am I going to kind of do my own thing? So, what really stuck with you from leaving home?
Honestly, just my family's always told me, open up your word every morning, just start with God's word. It doesn't have to be, a 20-minute Bible study. It can be a devotional. It can be, a psalm. It can be a chapter out of, one of the gospels or wherever. As long as you get your first thing you do is, your time with God, that's something that and they ingrained into me, and I kind of took that to UCLA, and it's been really beneficial for me just to start my day off with God and then to end my day off with God in prayer. That's been something that's really been touching to me.
Yeah, that's so important, especially just because there's so much going on at school,
Mhm.
right? Like, I mean, you probably got just things going on in your own room because you got roommates and you're living with people. Like, there's a
Exactly.
lot that college brings, and it's all fun. Like, there's some fun stuff, right? Like, and there's a lot of great things that college brings. But I love that you said that because it just reminds you, like, what's the truth and what's the word. And I know there were times when throughout my college experience when I wouldn't be reading my Bible consistently, and I kind of felt off. Like I was like, like something's just not right. And then I'd hear a worship song or someone would speak life into me and I just feel like renewed immediately. Like, oh, like that's like really good. Like I need more of that. And it's true because it's the spirit of the Lord and like you want to be attracted to that. But I would love to know just maybe some like advice you have for young athletes who are maybe already in college or headed into college in the advice to maybe like lean into that and to like pursue it. And you're not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be like every single day. You might miss an FCA meeting here and there. Like there are all those things. But what advice would you have for athletes who choose to pursue the Lord while in college?
Yeah, especially, I mean, for me, especially going to a secular school like UCLA, I mean, it kind of like before going into college, I'm like, I need to make sure my faith is in check because they're going to try to lead me down the wrong path. Teammates, professors, whoever it is, they're going to try to lead me down in the wrong path. So make sure my faith is in Christ. And so I know what's wrong and what's right from what they're trying to teach. And, just reading God's word every day has really been beneficial to me. Like I said, I mean, that's one advice I would give is just dig into God's word. I mean, you're not going to be perfect, like you said, but just to know that, God's in control, and just dig into his word because he wants to talk to you just like our dads want to talk to us. He's our heavenly father. So he wants to have a conversation with us. He wants to be our friend. He wants to be in every part of our life. And that's what I tell these young kids is, just think of God as your dad. He wants to, hey, how's your day going? How was baseball? How's school? How was this? Kind of just inviting him to be a part of your life has helped me and it's helped me grow in my faith teaching it, to these FCA athletes.
Chris, I love that. Like just that phrase, like and also just remembering that like the Lord is your father. Like I think that's so great. And also too what you said about like going into school with like a foundation. And even like it's not too late. Like if you're halfway through college, like it's never too late to like prepare yourself for battle. And I like in my own story, I just remember before I'd go into a lacrosse season feeling like this weight of like I gotta get ready. Like, I'm about to go through like battle, like in season. You know what that comes with injury, like wanting to play, like wanting to win, all the things, right? And I remember feeling like that weight of I have to prepare not only physically, but like spiritually and like mentally get myself ready for this. And so I love what you said because it's not just baseball, but it's like in the classroom too. Like, what are they teaching? What are my friends telling me to do? Like, what is the world telling me? And so, I just love the advice that you gave, and those kids that you're speaking to at FCA camp are really benefiting. And like, how cool is it? Number one, just to have a college athlete, be present there, but for you too to
Exactly.
speak life into them, and maybe just a little bit. I'd love to know a little bit more about your involvement with FCA and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I actually started coaching, or started going to the FCA camps when I was about 8 years old, and I graduated from FCA camp at about 12, and I wanted to be a little junior coach, which is a guy that sets up everything and all that, and then I kind of just graduated into being a lead coach and just kind of sharing my testimony with these kids, and Ben Orr, who's the director of FCA down here in SoCal, and Isaac Friesen, who's also a part of that. They just let me join right in basically to be a lead coach and said, "Yeah, you're in pretty much, and we've know your family really well. We want you to be a part of this." So, big shout out to them for letting me do that, and it's the Lord for sure. But it's changed my life for sure. Just doing these camps for as long as I can remember and coaching for like 8 or 9 years now. Like yesterday, I went to the ice cream shop and I saw a guy that I coached at FCA 8 years ago. He's like, "Yeah,
Wow.
are you Chris?" I'm like, "Yeah." That's that's. I was like, "Man, I'm old, but this is
I'm old, but I'm still getting an ice cream
I'm
cone.
still exactly. I'm old, but I'm still getting an ice cream cone." I was like, "Wow!" Like, and now he's a Christian, and I was like,
Mm.
"Wow." Just the people because we're just called to plant seeds. We're not supposed to do any like we don't need to do anything else. We're just planting the seeds. So that's it's been cool just to be in the FCA, and then I kind of leaned off, and now I'm a director at FCA now,
Okay,
and
let's
then
go.
getting called up to do that big high school Santa Barbara camp. I was like, "All right, Lord, you're answering prayers just like no other." And then coming back from that FCA camp, it just it really it made me trust in Christ more per se, and just have faith in Him. And it grew in my faith, and I'm reading my Bible like no other now, and really digging into His Word rather than like once or twice a week, what I was doing in the past. Now it's every single day, starting and ending off with
Mm.
Christ.
That is awesome. I love that. And thank you just for sharing all of that too, because there's so many things you could be doing outside of baseball, and for you to just pour into FCA. Also, like, you grew up with it, right? So you're, like,
Yeah,
noticing, "Hey, look how special that opportunity was for me, like, I wanna do that for someone else." And I think it's just great too to recognize yourself as an athlete of, like, it would kinda be a waste if, like, I had all these opportunities in, like, this baseball, at this incredible school on a really good team to not be able to pour into young athletes like that someday, because from Instagram, you could always see you're just gonna see the highlights, right? And you're just gonna see, "Oh, it's a UCLA baseball player, like, so cool, like, okay, he loves Jesus," like, right? But you're
Mhm.
probably not gonna see the broken face pic, okay? Like,
Yeah,
you're
no,
not.
you ain't seeing that.
No, so
Like,
we're not posting that anyway. You're like, "I don't want you guys to see that."
oh, no, it's all good.
But no, I like, just in all seriousness, I think it's so important to, if you're given the opportunity, to use it for good and to use it to share your story and your sports story. So thank you so much for sharing that. And
Of
so excited
course.
to see what you continue to do. But before we wrap up, I have to ask you the question I like to ask everyone on the podcast about pregame. So, pregame, do you wear headphones or no headphones?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll put in some headphones. I'll put in some worship music. It kind of calms me down. I don't like to get rattled up before I go. Kind of just like, let's settle down, focus on my breathing, throw in some, Hillsong or, Brandon Lake on or something that's, soothing and just get my mind right. And, then I go out there and shove. So
Chill California guy. That seems about right, right?
exist from Cali now and kind of a Cali native now. So got to do what the Cali boys do, I guess.
I love it. I love it. Well, so excited to highlight you on Sports Spectrum and just hear your story too. I always feel spoiled whenever I get to interview people because I get to hear these stories first and then we hold on to them for a little bit before they get released. And I'm like, oh, that was so awesome. So super excited for you all to hear this. And Chris, seriously, we're cheering you on. We love the UCLA Bruins and the Hasselbeck family. So we're super pumped about it. And have an awesome time when you get back on campus.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on.